Hello and welcome to in this session we are now going to address an issue that we face in Unreal Engine 5.6 when we carry out our modeling. In our previous session we were modeling the chair and we had almost completed it. Now we want to continue its modeling process. Once I saved the file to my hard disk, quit Unreal Engine, and now I am going to launch the project again. I will come into Epic Games Launcher and in Unreal Engine library. Now I will come into my project Satvik office.u project. I will double click to open this. I get this error message. I will clear this. I will close it. I will dismiss this error. And now you can see this was the chair that we designed in our previous session. If I want this chair to be edited or if I want to continue editing it, I will come here into the modeling tool and here I try to select it using these selection tools, either vertex or any of the selection tool. If I select and try to select this, that my chair cannot be selected at face or edge or vertex level. Now entire thing has got converted into an object. I can continue my editing by going into model, polygroup edit, and instead of selecting vertex, edge and face here, I can select it here. I can select any face like this, and instead of using the select tools here, I can make use of the tools here. I have the same extrude, push, pull, offset, all the tools are present here. I can use these tools and I can continue my model editing. When we actually create the model in static mesh mode, the model will be saved to your hard disk, but its polygroup data will be missing. So we have to again regenerate it using this polygroup edit, and then we have to start editing. The workaround for this is, so whenever you are doing editing and you want to edit it over a period of time by closing Unreal and again opening it, and if you want this polygroup edit to data to be available to you at every time, then you have to use dynamic mesh. I will come here and cancel it using this select tool. It is not possible now for me. I will select this SM simple chair and I will delete it. And now I am going to create a new chair. Now here I will switch off this SM underscore gate and SM underscore site area. I will come into create box, and in box mode, in the output mode, first I will change it from static to dynamic mesh. The sitting area we had decided to have it at 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter, and I want the height of 10 centimeter. And with this parameter set, I will just click here and click accept here to add this box over here. And I am going to come here, press F2, and I am now going to call it as SM simple chair, and this time I will call it as dynamic. And then I will come here and reset its location to 0, 0, 0. I will press G to enter game view now. I came into the select tool and clicked on insert loop, and we changed this to even, and we created 5 cuts on both along the y axis and also along the x axis. Then click accept. Then I just tilted it up, and I will just roll down the mouse a little to zoom in, and here I am now going to select 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we extruded it by a fixed length of around 50 centimeter because this was the height I needed. I click accept here. I will just zoom it a little. I will click on the outset, and we created a slight outset like this. We came here and in location we set it to 1 unit. It is already set to 1 unit. I will just come here and pull it by 2 units here, so that 2 units it comes down. Then I will come into the front view, and then I will again extrude it by a length of around 10 centimeter and click accept. I will come back into perspective view, and I am going to turn on the other side, and I will press S and move back, and I will press W, and now I am going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 faces. Now I will select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces on this side. I will come into offset here, and now in the offset we had set an offset of 2 units here. I will click accept here. Then we selected two faces here, this face and this face, and then we actually used push pull and pulled it to the top by a fixed length of 60 units. We again click accept here, then inserted loops here. So, I will make this number 6 and we inserted 6 loops here and 6 loops here. I will click accept. We selected this face and we gave push pull value of 40 units. I will click accept. I selected another two faces here with shift press. I selected both, click push pull 40. I will click accept. Then we inserted a loop again here. I inserted 6 loops here and 6 loops here. I will click accept here. Then I will select 1, 2 and 3 faces here, and then again I will push pull it by around 20 units and I will click accept. I will come to the top, I will turn down, press W. See, leaving the outer edge, I selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 faces here. I went into polygroup edit and I merged it into one face. Then I click accept. I will click insert and I will create a slight insert like this. See, in snapping I have set it to 1 unit. So, I will just move it by 2 units. See, normal 1, 2. This was what we had designed in our previous session. Now, I will go to file, choose save all, and now this chair SM simple chair dynamic is present only in our level modeling underscore practice. And if you come to content drawer, here we are not seeing this chair. This chair you are seeing is the old chair that we designed in our previous session. Now, I will close Unreal Engine and then I will relaunch it. Now, here I will click clear and also dismiss here and I will close this. And now again here I will off this SM site area and SM gate, and now if I select this and if I come into modeling mode and if I come into the selection, see, now this polygon selection is still available to you. Now, to explore our next tool, I will just come here and select the faces here. I am in the face selection mode. I will press shift and select 2, 3, 4 and 5, these 5 faces. Now I want to add 2 armrests, one on the left and one on the right. So, to add this armrest, I want to cut this faces half, and we added and we cut it using the insert loops, but this time we are going to use this cut tool. So, if I click on the cut tool here, I can now start from any of the edge here. So, I have a edge here, I will just click here and then I will drag it all the way till here and then click again. So, now you can see all these faces are now cut into 2 pieces. Now, same thing I will do here. I will select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. Then I will take this cut tool and I am going to click at a point here and I am going to drag this till here. So, now instead of using insert loop, or in some places where you cannot use insert loop, we can actually cut this using the cut tool. Now, I can select only half of these faces like this. I will select these half faces and also half faces I will select here, and then I will come into push pull and I am going to come into the fixed viewport and pull it by around 20 units. Now, I will click accept. I am next going to take my insert loop and I am going to add insert loop here, and this time I want to add, I will right click, press W and zoom in. I want to add the insert loop exactly 10 units below. This, when I want to do this exactly by 10 units, now I will use proportional offset and I am going to add one insert loop like this. However, this distance is not exactly 10 units. I will click accept here, then I will come into my model and choose this polygroup edit. You also have a polygroup edit here in select, but don't use this. Come into model polygroup edit, and here just like you have edge selection option here, I also have 3 options here: vertex, edges and faces. Now I will enable edge, and here you have 2 buttons, one is loop and another is ring. I will enable this loop, and now if I click on this, see this entire edge gets selected at a time. Now I will move it to the top like this to this point, and then here in location I am going to set this snapping to 5 units, and I am going to now pull this down. So now I am going to click accept. So now I got a 5 unit arm over here. I have this cut, but this portion I am not seeing the cut. In some cases, when you cannot apply loop cuts here to cut the mesh, then we can come into select. I can select this face, come into cut, and right click, press W and zoom it a little, and then this cut I am going to do it manually. So I will right click, turn it like this, press Q and move down, press D and move it. I have reduced the camera speed, and I will come into this angle, and now I will click here and drag and create a cut like this. Now I have this loop cut throughout. Now similarly here I will come on the other side also. I will press D, move it to the right, turn up, press Q and come down, and here I am going to come into insert loop, and I am going to add a loop. My loop is added only till here. I will first add the loop, click accept, and then I will go into model polygroup edit, enable edge selection, and see that this edge loop is on, and when I click on it, the entire loop is selected. So if you doesn't switch this on, and if you click somewhere here, only one edge will be selected, and with shift pressed I have to manually select this entire loop. However, if you enable this edge loop, I will deselect, and if I click it, the entire loop will be selected at a time. I will come into snapping, and I will disable snapping. I will come into the right view, and I will press G to hide all other tool. I will press F and zoom here. In this view I can move and control it correctly. So I will just snap it exactly to the top here, and then I am going to come here, enable location and snap by 5 units, and then I will just move it down, it moves by 5 units. I will click accept, then I will come into the perspective view, and even here this has not got cut. So this I will do a manual cut now. So I will select this face, come into select cut, and I am going to right click, turn like this, press D and move a little like this, and from this point I will add one straight cut like this. See, one straight cut like this. So now I have got this cut. Now I doesn't want this area. What I can do is I can just select these faces like this with shift, and you have the option here to delete. Just click delete, this entire face got deleted, and now I will just move out. I will press A and move down, move up, and I will press W and come close, and same thing I will do with these 3 faces. Either I can press delete, or you can use push pull, and instead of pulling it front, if you pull it back, see it get cut off, and I can click accept. See, now for this left armrest we used push pull. So because I used push pull, you can see that this cut has happened perfectly. But if you see on the other side armrest here, see here this cut is not visible at all. However, if I press D and come this side, the cut is visible here. This is because we have removed the faces on only one side, and the other side the faces have not been removed. Whenever you want to cut a face, it is always better to use push pull rather than the delete. If you press delete, you will have normal issues. I will come to what is normal when we come into material section. Now, because of that, from here this appears to be cut, but if I come on the other side, see, this is not cut. So, now to solve this issue, I am just going to come here and I have to now resume back my faces here. So, to get my face back here, I am now going to come into the edge selection mode, and here I am going to select this one corner edge over here. Now, this extrude edges is going to come handy. So, if I click on extrude edges now, I can just pull it, make it get attached till here. I can move it till here. See, I will attach it like this, right click and press D, turn around, and I will press W and slightly zoom it, and so that I will just move it up like this, and once it is removed, I will click accept. Now, I am going to come into face selection mode, and this face is already selected. Now, I am going to come into push pull, and I am going to pull it out. So, when I pull it out in the negative value like this, now if I click accept, select these three faces and click push pull and click accept. So, when I use push pull, you can see how these faces will be cut off and you will have the surface clean like this. Now, the last thing I want here is I want the edges of my chair to be not sharp like this, but I need a smooth surface, and this is what we call as beveling. So, now the next concept we are going to understand is beveling. So, I will come into file and choose save all to save this. Now, to first understand what is this bevel, I will temporarily off this SM simple chair dynamic, and now I will click somewhere to deselect everything, and now I am going to come into create and I am going to create a box, and here I will come into dynamic mesh because I does not want to save it. I leave a default 100 100 100 and I am going to click here to create a box, and I click accept E and come up, and now in this box I will now come into the edge selection tool, and I am going to select first this top edge with shift press, second this edge, third this edge, and fourth this edge. So, I have selected all the 4 edges on the top of this box. I will come into select, and now we are going to explore what is bevel. So, now if I click on bevel, by default what happens is, if I zoom and show it to you, see the corner edge has gone turned into a 45-degree angle. See, you see this slope of 45-degree. Distance of this 45-degree, we call it as bevel distance. It is set to 4 centimeter as it is. As I drag and increase this, see, you can see this 45-degree tilt is going to change. And if I set this value exactly to 50, it will have 100% bevel, because the size of this was 100, half of it if I keep it 50, see, this became something like a gopuram or a pyramid, and now these are now straight line. I have subdivisions here, and if I increase the subdivisions, see, I will make the subdivision 30, you can immediately see the shape of this. I will click accept. Now, I will come back here, and now I am going to select these edges, side edges, 1, 2, and then I will just move here, shift select 3, this one, and also I will select this edge. I will press Alt left click to turn and see around. Alt left click make us orbit around our selection. If I come into bevel and I will now reduce the bevel value, say I will keep it to something like 5, and you can now see these edges. So, and subdivisions also I make it 5. So, and if I click accept, see you got these kind of edges. So, now I will come here, select this box, press F2, and I am going to call this as SM bevel, and this is also now dynamic. Now, I will switch it off and I will now come back to my chair. I have to decide which all edges I want it to be bevel. So, now I will just move around, use the navigation key W and come close forward like this, and now I am going to select this, and now I want to select first the edges of this arm and make it round. Now, to make these edges round, I have to select these edges. Now, what happens is I have to manually select every edge like this. To make this selection easy, I can just deselect everything, select only the object now, and come into model here, polygroup edit. We will come to this later, and then in selection filter I will off vertex and face and enable only edges, and here I have an option called as edge loop. When I click on edge loop and click on any edge like this, see all the edges, connected edges will be selected at a time like this. Whereas the other option is edge ring. So, if I have edge ring, see all the edges in that ring will be selected. See, I can select all these edges like this. So, if I click here, all the ring edges will be selected. So, I have two options here. So, right now I will off this edge ring and I will enable only this edge loop. I will deselect everything, and here although I have enabled, I am not able to select this full. If I click, because this loop is not continuous, so I am not getting this loop cut here. No problem, I will select this manually, these 5 edges, and then I will select manually these 5 edges. But here you can see this entire structure from here to here got selected. I will press Ctrl Z, I will disable edge loop and I will select only this edge. So, similarly now I will right click, press D, and I am going to select these edges here 3, 4, 5 and also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I want this to be a smooth surface. So, for that I will come into select, and now with the selection done I will click accept, and then I will come into bevel. So, when I click on bevel, now I can set the bevel value here. See, as I drag it, you can see the bevel value changing, and if I set it to a value of around 2, you can see I am seeing a smooth surface. If the subdivision is 0, you can see this appears like a triangle. Here this appears like a triangle. However, if I make the subdivision level 5, see this appears like a arc. Now, similarly I will press D and come to the other end also. So, these two now appears like a round surface. Now, I click accept. So, now we have beveled and turned these edges into round edges, but I want these legs to be somewhat like round. Then what I can do is I will come into model, polygroup edit, and in edge I will enable loop cut, and now if I click, you can see this entire edge is selected in one click. With shift I select this one, with shift I select this one, I will alt and left mouse to come to the back side. I will also shift click this. So, I have selected all the 4 legs here. Then similarly now I will also select 1, 2, 3. this leg 1, 2, 3 and right click, press A and move to the side, and I will select 1, 2, 3 and I will just turn, press S, and almost one, this is missing, this one and this one. I have selected all the leg edges now, and then click accept, deselect this edge. So, to deselect an edge, you have to select it and click with control. With control, if I click it, see that edge gets deselected. Even here, this edge, control click this edge is not getting deselected. I will come into this edge mode and I will click here and deselect it. See, I have selected this edge and deselected it. So, similarly now I will press D and come on the other side also, and I will just control click and deselect it. So, I am using this edge to deselect it. So, I have selected now only the edges related to my legs. Now, I will come back here to my regular poly edge selection. Now, bevel will be on. See, in this edge selection, bevel will not be active. So, I have to come back to my poly edge selection, click bevel, and now if I adjust the bevel, only the leg bevels are going to change. I am going to set it to a value of around 2, and now if I will set the subdivision to around 3, and if I click accept, see now the legs appear rounded instead of sharp edges. One last thing here we have in the select tool, we have covered all the sections here. So, if I come here and select something and show it to you, delete, extrude, offset, extrude edges, push pull, inset, outset, cut, bevel, insert loop. Clean is nothing but I can select the mesh and clean the topology, and polygroup edit, we will discuss this in detail later. And you have one segment called as Triselect. What this does is, it is going to select this through triangles. Say for example, if I come into this vertex selection or face selection mode here, all these are actually made up of triangles. Now, in this mode, if I come into Triselect, I will get a brush like this, and using this brush, I can just select all the objects. So, this Triselect we will discuss it later. Say I can just drag it like this and make the selection like this and click accept, and all those portions will be selected. I am going to select this and I have to select all the faces over here. Come into this mesh triangle selection mode, and now if required I will come into the right view, and now I will select this Triselect, and actually I have to do it in perspective view. See here, I will select all these faces like this, and also I will also select all the faces here. So, like this I can make a selection using this triangle selection. I will also make a selection here, and also I will make a selection at this point, and then I will also right click and press D and come on the other side. Also I will select all these vertices, that is segments like this. So, all these segments are selected now. So, I have selected these segments. So, by using a brush like this, I can make the selection like this. So, I have selected all the area. Okay, so once your selection is fine, I will click apply, and then I will come into the right side view. I will just use this delta mode, and I will move it along the x axis by 10 units. And now, if I just click outside and come into the perspective view, actually made the height of our chair, reduced it by 10 units. So, now our chair is ready. This is a dynamic chair which can be used only in this level. So, what I can now do is, I can come here and save this, and I am going to make a copy of this. To make a copy of this, we will use the next transformation which we are going to discuss in our next session. but right now I will come into X form and I will click duplicate. Now, when I click duplicate, it is asking me whether you want to delete the original input. Here keep input I will enable, and if I click accept, I have 2 copies here, and the second copy I am going to select, and here you have another option here called convert, and when I click on convert here, I can now convert this into a static mesh, and if I click accept, now I am going to come here, press F2, and I am going to call this as SM simple chair. And now if you come into your content drawer, you now have it stored on your hard disk. So now I will right click and I am going to rename this as SM underscore simple chair completed and press enter. We have our chair ready and we can use it in any project now. I will come into file and choose save all. Now, in this session we have explored about the select mode of all the tools and we have built one chair, and in our next session we are going to discuss about X form and D form, and for this let us meet in our next session. Thank you.